Warsaw, Poland, February 14, 1961. Valentine's Day. The temperature outside hovers at -18 degrees Celsius, and the Vistula River has frozen into a sheet of gray ice that stretches like a scar through the heart of the city. Inside a cramped apartment on Marszałkowska Street, Tomasz Kowalski stands motionless in his study, holding a small camera no larger than a cigarette lighter. His hands are shaking, but not from the cold that seeps through the poorly insulated walls. The camera is warm, recently used. He found it hidden inside a hollowed-out copy of a mathematics textbook, tucked behind other volumes on the shelf he shares with his wife. The same shelf where they spent countless evenings together, shoulders touching, solving equations, laughing at private jokes only mathematicians would understand. The book's title mocks him now. Principles of Discrete Mathematics. Discrete. Secret, hidden. His wife Ania is in the kitchen, humming a melody as she prepares their daughter's breakfast. The sound that once brought him comfort now fills him with a dread so profound he can barely breathe. Because Tomasz knows exactly what this camera has been photographing. His work, his breakthrough, the cipher system that could decode Soviet naval communications across the Baltic Fleet. 3 years, their entire marriage. Every whispered conversation in the darkness of their bedroom about his progress at the Cryptography Bureau. Every moment she encouraged him, celebrated his breakthroughs, asked the right questions that helped him think through problems. It was all a lie, or was it? That's the question that's tearing him apart as he stands there, the tiny camera burning in his palm like a coal. The woman he loves, the mother of his child, has been betraying him to British intelligence since the day they met. And the worst part, the part that makes him want to scream, is that he helped her do it. He told her everything, willingly, eagerly, because he trusted her, because he loved her. Because in a world of secrets and suspicion, she was the one person he thought he could be honest with. The humming stops. Footsteps approach down the narrow hallway. Tomasz has perhaps 10 seconds to decide what to do with the camera in his hand. 10 seconds to choose between love and loyalty, between family and country, between the woman who shares his bed and the state that signs his paycheck. He slides the camera into his pocket just as Ania appears in the doorway, her dark hair pulled back, her smile warm and genuine, or so perfectly false he can no longer tell the difference. "Good morning, my love," she says. "You're up early." He manages to return her smile, though his face feels like a mask. "Couldn't sleep," he replies. His voice sounds normal, steady. It's a small miracle. She crosses the room and kisses his cheek. Her lips are soft, familiar. The same lips that have whispered words of love and encouragement for 3 years. The same lips that have, he now realizes, been lying to him with every breath. "I made coffee," she says, "the real kind. I traded some of my ration coupons for Valentine's Day." The irony is almost too much to bear. He follows her to the kitchen, where their daughter Kasia sits at the small table, her legs swinging beneath her chair. She's 4 years old, with Ania's dark eyes and his own stubborn chin. She's drawing with colored pencils, her tongue poking out in concentration as she works. "Daddy," she announces without looking up, "I'm making you a picture. It's a dragon." He sits down beside her, his heart breaking. "What does the dragon guard?" he asks, playing their usual game. "A treasure," she says seriously. "A big one. The biggest treasure in the whole world." He glances at Ania, who's pouring coffee with her back to him. "What kind of treasure? Gold, jewels?" Kasia shakes her head. "Better," she says, "it's a secret treasure. Only special people can see it." Ania sets a cup in front of him. Their fingers brush. He wonders if she can feel his pulse racing, if she knows that he knows. Her expression reveals nothing. She's good. Of course she's good. She fooled him for 3 years. She's been trained for this. The coffee is strong and bitter. He drinks it anyway, buying time, trying to think. His mind, usually so sharp, so analytical, feels sluggish with shock and grief. He needs to approach this like a problem, like a cipher to be broken. But this isn't mathematics. This is his life, his family, everything he thought was real. Ania sits down across from him. So she says, her tone light, conversational. How's the project going? The one you've been working on late. The question hangs in the air like a blade. It's the same question she's asked 100 times before. The question that always led to those late-night conversations where he explained his progress, his breakthroughs, his frustrations. The question that he now understands was never casual curiosity but careful intelligence gathering. He takes another sip of coffee. It's going well, he says carefully. We're close to a solution. Her eyes brighten with what looks like genuine pride. That's wonderful, Tomasz. I knew you'd crack it. You're brilliant. The praise feels like poison. He wants to grab her shoulders and shake her, demand the truth, ask her how she could do this. But Kasia is right there, humming to herself as she colors, and he can't destroy his daughter's world. Not yet. Not until he understands the full scope of what's happening. He finishes his coffee and stands. I should get to work, he says. Big day. Ania rises with him, straightening his collar with a wifely gesture that now seems like a performance. Will you be late tonight? Probably, he says. You know how it is. She kisses him goodbye. He forces himself not to flinch. As he walks through the frozen streets toward the cryptography bureau, his mind races. The camera in his pocket feels like it weighs 1,000 kilograms. He needs to think. He needs a plan. But first, he needs to know exactly what she's photographed and when. The bureau is housed in a gray concrete building that looks like every other government office in Warsaw. Ugly, functional, designed to blend in. Tomasz shows his identification to the guard and climbs 3 flights of stairs to the cipher division. His colleagues are already at their desks, bent over papers covered in numbers and symbols. The work of breaking and making codes. The invisible war that never stops. His supervisor, Colonel Wojcik, calls him into the office before he can even sit down. Kowalski, the colonel says, closing the door. We need to talk. Tomasz's heart stops. Do they know? Has someone been watching Ania, watching him? The colonel gestures to a chair. Your work on the Baltic Fleet cipher, he says. It's attracted attention, high-level attention. Moscow wants a full briefing. They're sending someone from the GRU. He'll be here next week. Tomasz nods slowly, his mind spinning. The GRU, Soviet military intelligence. If they're coming to Warsaw, it means his breakthrough is even more important than he realized. It also means the stakes for what Ania has been doing are catastrophically high. This is a significant achievement, Tomasz, the colonel continues, career-making. There will be commendations, promotions. He pauses, but I need to know. Is the system secure? Have you discussed it with anyone outside this building? The question is routine, standard security protocol, but in this moment it feels like an interrogation. Tomasz meets the colonel's eyes. No one, he says. The lie tastes like ash. He returns to his desk and tries to work, but concentration is impossible. His hands move mechanically, checking calculations, reviewing intercepts, but his mind is elsewhere. He's thinking about Ania, about how they met. It was at a university lecture 3.5 years ago, November 1957. She was auditing a course on probability theory, sitting in the back row. He noticed her because she was the only person in the room who laughed at the professor's joke about Bayes' theorem. They started talking after class. She was sharp, funny, passionate about mathematics in a way that matched his own obsession. She worked as a translator, she said, French and English. It was boring work, but it paid the bills while she pursued her real love, which was pure mathematics. They married 6 months later. A small ceremony, just family and a few friends. Kasia was born a year after that. The perfect family, the perfect life, all of it built on a lie. Or was it? That's what torments him. Were there real moments, real feelings? Or was every smile, every touch, every whispered word of love just part of her cover? He thinks about the nights they stayed up late, working through problems together. The way her eyes lit up when she understood a particularly elegant solution. The way she held him when his father died, her tears mixing with his. Could someone fake that? Could anyone be that good an actress? By lunchtime, he's made a decision. He needs to know the truth, all of it, and there's only one way to get it. He leaves the bureau early, claiming a headache. The guard barely glances at him as he exits. The walk home feels endless. The frozen streets are crowded with people hurrying through the cold, their breath forming clouds in the bitter air. Tomasz barely sees them. He's rehearsing what he'll say, how he'll confront her. The apartment is empty when he arrives. A note on the kitchen table explains that Ania has taken Kasia to visit her mother. They'll be back by dinner. Perfect. He has time. He goes to the study and removes the camera from his pocket. It's a sophisticated piece of equipment. British-made, he'd guess. Designed for covert photography. He opens the back and finds the film still inside. 36 exposures. He has no way to develop it himself, but he doesn't need to. He knows what's on it, his notes, his diagrams, his breakthrough. The question is how much she's already passed along, and to whom. He searches the apartment methodically, looking for other evidence. It takes him an hour to find the second hiding place. A loose floorboard beneath their bed. Inside, there's a small metal box. His hands are shaking again as he opens it. Documents, a passport in a different name, British pounds, and a small notebook filled with dates, times, and coded references, meeting schedules, dead drops, contact protocols. He's reading through the notebook when he hears the key in the lock. They're home early. He barely has time to replace the box and the floorboard before Ania and Kasia come through the door. Daddy. Kasia runs to him, arms outstretched. He scoops her up, holding her tight, breathing in the scent of her hair. She's innocent in all this. Whatever happens, he has to protect her. Ania appears in the doorway, her cheeks flushed from the cold. "You're home," she says. There's a question in her voice, a wariness. She knows something is wrong. He can see it in her eyes. "I wasn't feeling well," he says, decided to leave early. She nods slowly. "Why don't you rest?" she suggests. "I'll make dinner," but he can't rest. Can't pretend anymore. After Kasia is in bed that night, after they've gone through the motions of a normal evening, after the dishes are washed and the apartment is quiet, he finally speaks. "I found the camera," he says. The words fall like stones into still water. Ania freezes. She's standing at the sink, her back to him. For a long moment she doesn't move, doesn't breathe. Then slowly she turns to face him. Her expression is unreadable. "What camera?" she asks, but her voice lacks conviction. She knows it's over. "The Minox," he says, "in the mathematics book, and the box under our bed, the passport, the money, the notebook." She closes her eyes. When she opens them again, they're filled with tears. But he can't tell if they're real or just another performance. "How long have you known?" she asks. "Since this morning," he says. His voice is steady, but inside he's screaming. She nods, moves to the table, sits down heavily. "I suppose you want an explanation," she says. "I want the truth," he replies, "all of it." She's silent for a long moment. Then she begins to talk. Her real name is Ania Kowalska. That part is true, but she's not just a translator. She was recruited by British intelligence while studying in London in 1955. They trained her, gave her a mission: target a cryptographer working on Warsaw Pact communications, get close to him, marry him if necessary, gather intelligence. You were assigned to me, Tomasz says. The words taste like poison. She looks away. Yes, at first, but then she stops, swallows. Then what? He demands. Then I fell in love with you, she says. Her voice breaks. I know you won't believe me. I know you think everything was a lie, but it wasn't. It started as an assignment, but it became real. You became real. Kasia became real. This life became real. He wants to believe her. God, how he wants to believe her. But how can he? How can he trust anything she says? The nights we spent talking about my work, he says, the questions you asked, that was all intelligence gathering. She nods miserably. Yes. But also no. I loved those conversations, Tomasz. I loved watching your mind work. I loved being part of your process. The fact that I was also reporting it doesn't change that I genuinely cared. You can't have it both ways, he says angrily. You can't betray someone and love them at the same time. Can't you? She asks. Her eyes meet his. Isn't that exactly what you're doing right now? You love me. I know you do. But you're going to turn me in. Because it's your duty. Because it's the right thing to do. We're both trapped, Tomasz. Both caught between love and loyalty. He has no answer for that because she's right. He does love her. Even now, knowing everything, he loves her, and it's destroying him. What happens now? She asks quietly. He should report her immediately. Call Colonel Wojcik, have her arrested. It's his duty, his obligation to the state. But if he does that, Kasia loses her mother, and he becomes the man who destroyed his own family. There's another option, Ania says carefully. She's watching him closely, gauging his reaction. What option? He asks, though he's afraid of the answer. One more mission, she says. One final intelligence package. The complete breakthrough on the Soviet naval cipher. If I can deliver that to my handlers, they've promised to extract me, to extract us, all three of us. We could leave Poland. Start over in England. Be a family, away from all this. The proposal is insane, treasonous. It would make him a traitor to everything he's ever believed in. It would mean betraying his country, his colleagues, his oath. But it would also mean keeping his family together, protecting Kasia, starting fresh somewhere safe. You're asking me to defect, he says. I'm asking you to choose us, she replies. Choose our daughter. Choose a life where we don't have to live in fear, where Kasia can grow up free. You think we'd be free in England? He asks bitterly. We'd be defectors, traitors, always looking over our shoulders. Always wondering if Moscow would send someone to settle the score. It's better than what will happen if you report me, she says. Her voice is hard now. Do you know what they do to foreign agents here, Tomasz? Do you know what they'll do to me? And what do you think happens to Kasia when her mother is executed as a spy? The words hit him like a physical blow, because she's right. If he reports her, Ania will be arrested, interrogated, and almost certainly executed. And Kasia will grow up knowing her mother was a traitor, knowing her father turned her in. There's no good outcome here, no clean solution. Just impossible choices and devastating consequences. I need time, he says finally. Time to think. We don't have time, Ania says urgently. My handlers are expecting contact. If I don't deliver soon, they'll assume I've been compromised. They'll cut me loose. And if that happens, we lose our only chance to get out. How soon? He asks. 3 days, she says. There's a scheduled meeting. A dead drop in Lasianki Park. I'm supposed to deliver the final package, the complete cipher system. If I do, they'll activate the extraction protocol. We'll be out of Poland within a week, and if I say no, he asks. Then I go alone, she says quietly. I won't risk Kasia's safety. If you're going to report me, I need to disappear before you do. I have a backup plan, a way out, but it means leaving her behind, leaving both of you. The thought of Kasia waking up one morning to find her mother gone, with no explanation, no goodbye, is unbearable. But so is the thought of becoming a traitor, of handing over state secrets to a foreign power, of betraying everything he's worked for. I need to think, he says again. He walks out of the apartment into the frozen night. The streets are empty now, the temperature having driven everyone indoors. He walks without direction, his mind churning. The Vistula is a black ribbon through the city, the ice reflecting the dim streetlights. He thinks about his father who fought in the war, who believed in Poland, in duty, in sacrifice. What would he say if he could see his son now contemplating treason? But he also thinks about Kasia, about her future, about the world he wants her to grow up in. Is it this one? This gray, cold, suspicious world where everyone watches everyone else, where love and loyalty are constantly at war, where a man can't trust his own wife. He walks for hours. By the time he returns to the apartment, it's past midnight. Ania is still awake, sitting at the kitchen table. She looks up as he enters, her eyes red from crying. "I'll do it," he says. The words come out before he's fully conscious of making the decision, but once they're spoken, he knows they're true. "I'll help you complete the mission. We'll take Kasia and we'll go." Relief floods her face. "Thank you," she whispers. "Thank you, Tomasz, but there are conditions," he says. She nods. "Anything. I want the truth," he says, "all of it. No more lies. No more secrets. If we're going to do this, if we're going to be a family, I need to know everything." She takes a deep breath. Then she begins to talk. She tells him about her recruitment, about the training in London, about the psychological preparation for long-term deep cover operations, about the other agents she worked with, about the intelligence she's already passed, about the people she's betrayed. She talks for hours. And as she talks, Tomasz begins to understand the impossible position she's been in, living a double life, loving a man she was supposed to be using, raising a daughter in a world of lies. It doesn't excuse what she's done, but it helps him understand it. By the time she finishes, the sun is rising over Warsaw. Gray light filters through the windows. They're both exhausted, but there's also a strange sense of relief. The secrets are finally out. The lies are finally exposed. Now they just have to survive the consequences. The next 3 days are the longest of Tomasz's life. He goes to work as usual, acting normal, pretending nothing has changed. But every moment feels like walking on a knife's edge. He completes the final documentation on the cipher breakthrough, the full system, every detail. He tells himself he's doing it for Kasia, for their future, but he knows the truth. He's committing treason. He's betraying his country, his colleagues, everything he's ever believed in. And he's doing it for love. Colonel Wojcik congratulates him on the completed work. "The GRU representative will be pleased," he says. "This is a significant achievement, Tomasz. You should be proud." The words feel like knives. On the third night, Tomasz makes copies of everything. The complete cipher system. The breakthrough that could give the West a significant advantage in naval intelligence. He packages it carefully, following Ania's instructions. Then he goes home and tells his wife it's ready. "Tomorrow," she says. "Tomorrow evening. We'll go to Łazienki Park. I'll make the drop. And then we wait for extraction." "What if something goes wrong?" he asks. Then we run, she says simply. I have emergency protocols, backup plans, we'll get out, we have to. That night they put Kasia to bed together. They read her favorite story. They tuck her in. They kiss her good night. And then they hold each other in the darkness. Two people who have lied to each other and betrayed each other and hurt each other, but who still, somehow, impossibly, love each other. The next day drags endlessly. Tomasz can barely focus on work. Every sound makes him jump. Every glance from a colleague feels like suspicion, but nothing happens. No one stops him. No one questions him. At 5 o'clock, he leaves the bureau for the last time. He walks home through the frozen streets, the package of documents in his briefcase, his heart pounding. This is it, the point of no return. Ania is waiting with Kasia. She's packed a small bag, just essentials. Anything more would look suspicious. Are you ready? She asks. He nods. He's not ready. He'll never be ready, but he's committed now. They take the tram to Łazienki Park. It's a cold evening and the park is nearly empty. Just a few hardy souls walking their dogs or hurrying home from work. The dead drop location is near the palace on the aisle. A specific bench. A specific trash bin. Ania will leave the package. Her handler will collect it later. Then they wait for the signal that extraction is approved. Tomasz waits with Kasia by the frozen pond while Ania makes the drop. He watches her walk away, his heart in his throat. This is the moment. If they're being watched, if this is a trap, it will spring now, but nothing happens. Ania reaches the bench. She sits for a moment as if resting. Then she stands and walks away, leaving the package behind. She returns to them, her face pale but composed. It's done, she says. Now we wait. They walk home slowly, trying to appear normal. Just a family out for an evening stroll. But Tomasz can feel eyes on them. Real or imagined, he can't tell. Back at the apartment, they wait. Ania has a specific window where she should receive the extraction signal. A phone call. A code phrase. Confirmation that they're getting out. The hours crawl past. Kasia plays with her toys, oblivious to the tension. Ania sits by the phone, her hands clasped tightly. Tomasz paces. 8 o'clock passes. 9 o'clock. 10. The phone doesn't ring. Something's wrong, Ania says. Her voice is tight with fear. They should have called by now. Maybe they're being cautious, Tomasz suggests. Maybe they're making sure it's safe. Or maybe we've been compromised, she says. She stands abruptly. We need to go. Now. Use the backup plan. But before they can move, there's a knock at the door. 3 sharp raps. Official. Authoritative. They freeze. Ania's face goes white. The backup plan, Tomasz says urgently. Where? She shakes her head. Too late. If we run now, they'll know. We have to answer. Another knock. Louder, more insistent. Tomasz moves to the door. His hand is shaking as he reaches for the handle. He opens it. Colonel Wojcik stands in the hallway. Behind him are 2 men in civilian clothes. Security services. Tomasz's heart stops. Kowalski, the colonel says. His voice is cold, formal. We need you to come with us. There are questions about your work. Security concerns. Tomasz can't speak, can't breathe. This is it. They know it's over. But then the colonel's eyes shift past him to Ania. And you as well, Mrs. Kowalska, both of you. Now, what about our daughter? Ania asks. Her voice is steady, remarkable. She'll be taken care of, one of the security men says. There are arrangements for children in these situations. Tomasz feels the world collapsing around him. They're going to be arrested, interrogated, separated from Kasia. Everything they feared is happening, but then something strange occurs. The colonel glances at his watch. Then he looks at Tomasz with an expression that's hard to read. You have 5 minutes, he says quietly, to say goodbye to your daughter. To gather a few things. 5 minutes. Then we go. It's not much, but it's something. Tomasz and Ania rush to Kaja's room. She's already asleep, curled up with her stuffed rabbit. Ania kisses her forehead, tears streaming down her face. "Be brave, my darling," she whispers. "Be strong. Remember that we love you, always." Tomasz can barely see through his own tears. He touches his daughter's hair, memorizing the feel of it. Then they're being led out of the apartment, down the stairs, into a waiting car. The drive is silent. Tomasz expects to be taken to security headquarters, to the interrogation cells, but instead the car heads out of the city. Toward the airport, he exchanges a glance with Ania. She looks as confused as he feels. At the airport, they're led not to the main terminal but to a private area. A small plane is waiting, British markings. And standing beside it is a man in a long coat. He nods to Colonel Wojcik. The colonel turns to Tomasz. "You're a fool, Kowalski," he says, "but you're also a brilliant cryptographer, and your work has been valuable. More valuable than you know." Tomasz stares at him, not understanding. The man in the coat steps forward. He speaks in accented Polish. "Your wife's intelligence has been crucial to Western security," he says. "But her cover was compromised 3 days ago. We had to accelerate the extraction. Your cooperation made that possible." Tomasz feels like he's been punched. "You knew?" he asks the colonel. The colonel's expression is unreadable. "Let's say that some of us believe the real enemy isn't always the one we're told to fight," he says. "Your daughter will be brought to you within the week, through unofficial channels. You have my word." He extends his hand. Tomasz stares at it. Then slowly he shakes it. The colonel nods. Then he and the security men get back in the car and drive away. The man in the coat gestures to the plane. "Time to go," he says. "Your new life is waiting." Tomasz and Ania board the plane. As it lifts off into the night sky, Tomasz looks down at Warsaw, the city where he was born, where he grew up, where he became a man, the city he's now betraying, or saving. He's no longer sure which. Ania takes his hand. He looks at her, at the woman who lied to him and loved him and destroyed his life and saved it. "I meant what I said," she tells him, "about loving you, about us being real." He wants to believe her. Maybe he even does. But trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. It will take time. Years, perhaps, but they have time now. They have a chance. The plane flies west toward a new life, toward freedom, toward uncertainty. Behind them, Warsaw disappears into the darkness. Ahead, somewhere in that darkness, is England, is safety, is Kaja, who will join them soon, is a future that neither of them could have imagined. In the frozen winter of 1961, a Polish cryptographer made an impossible choice. He chose love over loyalty, family over country, the uncertain future over the known past. Whether it was the right choice, only time would tell, but it was his choice. And in the end, that's all any of us have, the freedom to choose, even when every choice leads to betrayal, even when love and duty pull in opposite directions, even when the only way forward is through the darkness, with no guarantee of light on the other side. That's the real secret, the one no cipher can decode, the one no amount of intelligence can reveal. That in the end, we're all just trying to protect the people we love, even when it costs us everything, even when it makes us traitors, even when the price of love is higher than we ever imagined we could pay. The plane flies on through the night. And in the darkness, two people who have betrayed each other and their country hold hands and hope for redemption, hope for a second chance, hope that somehow, impossibly, they can build something real from the ruins of all their lies. Whether they succeed is another story, but this one ends here, in the sky above Europe, in the space between countries, in the moment between one life and another, where a man and a woman who loved each other and lied to each other fly toward an uncertain future. Together, because in the end that's the only choice that mattered. Not country, not duty, not ideology, just the simple, complicated, impossible choice to stay together, to be a family, to love each other despite everything. That's the real story, the one that doesn't make it into the history books, the one that happens in the shadows, in the frozen winters and the desperate choices, in the hearts of people caught between impossible loyalties. That's the story of Tomasz and Ania Kowalski, two spies, two lovers, two people who betrayed everything for each other, and who would spend the rest of their lives wondering if it was worth it.